Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Please explain what is meant by Pratipaksha Bhavana. You're able to hear me all right?
Yes, Swamiji.
Reference commentary on 4 and 9 uses this term. Okay. Okay. Paksha means side or wing. A wing is called Paksha. One who has wing is called Pakshi. So Paksha means a side. And as we all know, a coin has got two sides. But in our life, when we meet any situation, we somehow become one-sided in our perception. We look at what is beneficial to us, or we look at the way we have been looking at before, or we look at the thing as somebody mentions, this is the way you look at. So what happens is, we often ignore the other side of the coin. We don't look at the flip side of it, so to say. To arrive at what is real, one should look at both sides. As we commonly say, pros and cons. Of any situation, we should see both pros and cons and decide whether to go ahead or up with it or not. You know, when we are moving forward, it's called progress. What is the opposite of that? I don't need to tell you, you should know. All right. Opposite of progress is what? All right. I didn't say, I just asked. So, pros and cons. So, one-sided view, lopsided view, what we call, is not good. You must look at both sides. That is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Prati means the other. Both sides, Pratipaksha means both sides. Looking at both sides of a coin, both sides of a situation will give you a clarity. And that is the reason why Bhagavan Shankaracharya had used that as a necessary method of sadhana. When we look at only the rosy side of a situation, we do not see the dire side of the situation. We see what is advantageous, we will not see what is disadvantageous. When we like something, there are some elements of things which may be harmful to us, which we don't see. We overlook it. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, let us have a balanced vision by accounting both sides. So that's why to live in attachment is certainly an ill rewarding program of existence. Ill rewarding. To waste our life in lust and passions of our flesh is dissipating ourselves in our faculties, though through Pratipaksha Bhavana, we must try to withdraw from them all and spend the energy so concerned seeking serving Govinda. Like, for example, the particular verse, नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागा मोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसादिविहारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्. So, when you look at the body of a person, do not look at only the flesh, which is very attractive. नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं Drishtva, seeing, Maga, don't get into Mohavesham, don't get deluded. Etat Mamsa, flesh, Vasadi Viharam, only flesh and blood, etc. Manasi Vichintaya, remember this, Varam Varam, again and again. So, even though it is physically attractive, but think about it that no, this is only a physical part of it. First layer of the skin removed, what will be your condition? Flesh, blood, fecus, bone. Gurudev says that we are all very beautifully packaged flesh, packaged dirt. Very well packaged dirt. It looks interesting, but then you must remember that there is other side of the coin also. All right. Verse 4, that is what the verse 4 is about. And the first half of the stanza, he is painting the mortality of individual existence. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tattva jividam adishaya chapalam. This is called the first half of the stanza. He is painting the mortality of the individual existence. So what is mortality of existence? Everything is so flimsy. Nalini talagada jalamati taralam tattva jividam adishayalam vidhi vyadi abhimana grastam lokam shokahatam cha samastam. Understand that it is filled with sorrow, but that does not mean that there is only sorrow in this world. You can come out of it, provided you see the other side of the coin. So that is the Pratipaksha Bhavana. Clear? Meaning, in any situation, do not be lopsided. Do not see one aspect only. Look at the other side also and come to the right conclusion. Yes, we need to engage in this world. Like, for example, fire is useful for us to cook, but don't put your hand in that. You needed it, but don't embrace it. Then it will burn you. So you have to be careful. Where you need it, yeah, use it. Then beyond that, do not overuse it or possess it. That's what it means. Next question. Please expound on the last quarter of the verse niścalatattve jīvanmuktiḥ. Specifically, what does experience of immutable reality mean? Is that during a controlled environment of contemplation? How does seeker progress from that experience of reality to liberation? Satsangatve niśsangatvam. Yeah. So your question is about niścalatattve jīvanmuktiḥ. In Ashtavakra Gita, there is a beautiful verse. He says, Aprayatnat prayatnatva mudu napnodi nirvratim tattva niścalatattve pragyo pavadi nirvrataha. Which means, when we do not understand clearly what a thing is, which is called tattva. Tattva means an essence of a thing. We come to hastily conclude with improper information or incomplete information. Especially in Vedanta, liberation is not going somewhere or reaching somewhere. It is knowing that you are not bound at all. The bondage that we are trying to overcome is a mental condition. This conditioning of the mind, which does not question it, is bondage. If somebody feels, the usual story that is usually Gurudev used to give is, I have narrated this story before also. There was an ashram and many students were living there. And after the morning class, etc., the teacher would say, after you are eating some food, take all the cows and go out for grazing, and for an hour or two, and that's the best time for your contemplation also. Go there, keep the cows grazing into the grass area, and you sit and quietly contemplate, and an hour or two later, bring the cows back into the cow shed and tie them up. That's the work of the day on the first day of the morning, first part of the morning. And then do other sevas also. So all the students, very, as usual, they had their first morning session, meditation, etc. Then they had the session lesson, and then they had something to eat, and then they took their cows and went into the field. And then all of them, they put the cows into the grass fields, and they were sitting and contemplating about the reflecting upon what Guruji has said. Then it suddenly started to become very cloudy and started to rain. It started to pour down. So all of them hurriedly gathered their, picked up their cows, dragged them into the cow shed. And then they went into their room. That day was very cloudy and rainy. So next morning was very bright sun. So they all finishing their morning routine, they came and then to take the cows back to the field. All of them took it. One particular boy, he was trying to take the cow away from the shed. It won't go. He pulled it. It won't go. So he was kind of adamant. So he went to the Guru and said, something wrong with this cow. It's not coming with me at all. Something has to be done. So Guru came out and said, what's the problem? See, I am taking the cow away from the shed, but it won't come out. But you have to untie the cow first, No. He said, what do you mean by untie the cow? Yeah, I untie the cow. Otherwise, how will it come? No, I didn't tie yesterday because it was raining. And I hurriedly came back and put the cow inside, and I did not tie him at all. So therefore, there is no need to untie. No. You do one thing. What? Show that you are untying him and then take it. How foolish. You do it. So he went to that near the peg or the pole. He just made an act of untying him from the pole, and then he pulled the cow, it came. So then the disciple looked at the Guru and said, why is that it needs to be shown that it is untied? Because every day you tie him, right? And it has the belief that you are untying him today also, even though he never tried him yesterday. In the same way, we have assumed a bondage. This assumption of bondage needs to be overcome. Now tell me, are you bound by your body? Yes or no? All of us would say yes, because it is a one constant companion of mine from morning till evening, from birth to death. It is there with me. And so its needs are my needs. Its demands are my demands. It's constantly seeking my attention. Just because a thing is constantly needing attention does not mean that is you. But we misunderstand, other than the body, I don't exist. Because it's always with me. The only thing I can tell you that when you are going to sleep, it is not with you. You are rejecting it. But at that time, I am not conscious that I have rejected this physical body. So, just because it is always with me and I never seen myself different from it, does not mean it is you. And this Vedanta, when it says that is not you, it's very hard for us to digest. Why? Just like that cow, every day it is getting tied up into the pole, and one day when it is not tied, it would not think that it is free. If it had known that it is free, it would have gone somewhere. But it still thought that every day it is, I'm being tied, and today also, mindlessly thinks that it is tied. So unless you untie it, it would not feel that it has become free. So too, because we are constantly with association with our body, mind, thoughts, emotions, feelings, so many things, that is what I am. If my thoughts are unhappy, I am unhappy. If my body is not feeling good, I am unhappy. And if somebody says nothing nice things about me, then I am happy. So we are deciding our nature, concluding ourselves to be based upon something which we are not. This is bondage. Now, how will you overcome this? This bondage, who can remove it from you? If any Dadiwala comes and says, I will give you moksha, run away from him. Because you cannot, unless you correctly understand this. Niścalatattve. Niścala means unchanging, steady knowledge. Niścala, chalarahita. Without any change, any modification, without any oscillation, without any doubt. Nisamshaya-tattve ityartha. With no doubt on this. And that takes time because habitually we have been thinking I am so and so. It is not easy for us to suddenly feel different. Because even the world around us will not support it. Because the world sees you only as your body, right? What else? You're near and dear, your brother or sister, husband, wife, or children, and so others may look at little more carefully, not as a body, but also as a thought, as emotion, as a bundle of emotion and feelings, right? They may not look at you only as a physical being. They will look at you because they have been seeing you from the early childhood growing up. So they know more about your emotions and your thoughts than just a physical body. But your neighbor or somebody else, they look at you only as a physical body, right? But how are you looking at yourself? The way they look at you? If you are looking at yourself the way others look at you, there's a problem. You should have a better understanding of yourself than the way others look at you. Otherwise, we will get succumb to, we'll be victim of others' opinion. If somebody comes and say, nowadays you are looking beautiful, think about it. So that means what? Earlier, yesterday, I was ugly. From their perception, yes. But I should have a better judgment of myself, right? So I should look at myself not only with respect to what others say or what I have been believing myself to be. I should have a clarity about who I am. That is called niścalatattve. I am Satchidananda Paramatma. I am the eternal self. I am the everlasting, immortal self. This body is only temporarily my abode. I do whatever I need to do with respect to the body and its relationship. But I'm not a dying entity. I'm dying, the deathless presence. And that understanding alone can give you Jivanmuktiḥ. Even while you are living, you are liberated. So what does experience of immutable reality mean? Is that during the controlled environment of it. I don't know what that controlled environment is, but within the scope of understanding, one should practice this clearly. And when one's clarity of thinking comes and experimenting that very clarity in every situation becomes possible, that I remain unscathed, undisturbed by the way others look at me or the way I have been thinking of myself, being released from that when I look at myself as pure existence and consciousness and bliss, that state of existence thereafter, free of all bondages and limitations, is known as Jivanmukti. It is not going somewhere or reaching some other world. It is elevating your awareness to the highest point. Is that clear? Doubt?
Thank you for sharing the thoughts on this verse.
Just more closer.
How do we go from the niścalatattve? Once that understanding is there, are there additional steps to get into Jivanmukti? Does the sadhana need to be more abhyasa? Are there other steps involved?
No, the other steps. So there is a Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana are the steps. And when we listen to this, it may be very convincing. But then we reflect upon that. We should reflect on what are the pitfalls on the way, where and all I failed to be, where and all I failed not to abide in that understanding. So that has to be overcome. Reflection, thinking should happen. And when one sits for quiet meditation, there will be other tendencies and vasanas will pull you away from it, would not allow you to remain there for too long. So one should overcome all those things by reducing one's attention on the vasanas and its pursuits. There are certain values as we are practicing certain things. The behavior of the mind should change. It should not anymore behave the way it has been behaving before. It has to go through the change. That is called abhyas, practice. So as the mind becomes more and more quiet, one naturally takes to quiet meditation, in which the understanding I am the free self, I am independent of all that, becomes more and more concretized or solidified and becomes firm. Yeah. In Self-Unfoldment, chapter 11, it says if we set our goal to be realization of the self, then our destination is a condition wherein every one of our vasanas is exhausted. Is it necessary that all vasanas are exhausted before self-knowledge is realized? See, vasanas or tendencies are of three kinds. Okay. There are physical vasanas, emotional vasanas, and intellectual ones, broadly speaking. Physical vasanas are called habits. Wanting to eat that, wanting to have certain physical experiences. These are all vasanas at the physical level. And wanting a particular kind of food or particular kind of cuisine or the taste, food habits, and many other such things. And wanting to dress nicely and all that. Or a particular kind of dress I like, particular kind of environment I like to be, all that. Then comes the emotional part of it. My thoughts and emotions must be shared with someone who understands me, right? And I want to watch certain movies, entertaining myself, certain beliefs, certain feelings. So those are also there. And with certain people, I am very comfortable because their thoughts and my thoughts correlate each other. They sync well. So those things are there. So you have emotional company, whether it is movie, people, places, all those things. Then comes my strong opinion about things, about political, about economy, about political systems, religious beliefs. These form the intellectual level. My opinion, my thoughts, my suggestions, my advice, my viewpoint, my perceptions, my knowledge, everything should coincide or correlate with somebody, then I'm comfortable. And I keep expressing that. Now, can we ever overcome all the vasanas to be free? Is it ever possible that I can because the vasanas are those which are binding me into an individuality. Knowledge of the self is the gate that opens up, a door that opens up, so to say. But even though it opens the door for you to be free, but it takes a lot of time to establish oneself into which you have entered. Because there are a lot of windows in that room through which things will come in. Or your physical, emotional, and intellectual vasanas can come and distract you. In Vivek Chodamani, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says there is only one Mula Karanam, primary cause for the vasanas to continue. If you can eliminate that, then you don't need to work on individual vasanas. So he makes it clear, mere knowledge by itself would not release you. Jnate vastunyapi bhalavati vasana anadiresha. He says, Jnate vastunyapi, even though you know. Bhalavati, strong. Vasanas. Anadi, beginningless. It has come for so many lives. It's not yesterday, today. So these vasanas have come. Anadi esha vasana. Anadi. Beginningless. So long it has been there. And how does it express? Karta, bhokta, api ahamidi. Ya asya samsara hetuhu. I am the one. I am individual. I am so and so. This strong ego is there. This is the Moola Karanam, or the very root of the individual continuing to express the vasanas. Karta means I am the doer. Bhokta, I am the enjoyer. Karta bhokta pyahamiti ya asya samsara hetuhu. It is the cause of the samsara, bondage. How do we overcome this? Pratyak drishtya nivasadi sada sapaneya prayatnat. Prayatnat, by effort, one should withdraw the attention from whatever and whenever the ego takes you towards a particular vasana trail. See, the physical habits are relatively easy to overcome, I would say. If you say that there's certain things I want, certain food I want, or certain taste I want, without which I'll be very unhappy. This is a conditioning we have put already. Only when we realize that this is a condition I have made onto myself, let me come out of it and see what would be my condition, what would be my mind. So one has to attempt on that. It is for one's own self-growth only. It is not that to prove it to anybody. Can I leave something and remain without being affected by its presence or absence? So that's why recently when I took people to Kashi, just 2 months back, I told them all that each one of you should leave something. That which you like. So one person came to me, what about my wife? I said, you didn't hear me correctly. That which you like. Oh yeah, correct. So, that what would you like to eat and things like that. So, but Swamiji, how long? How long? Whole life. Not person, not wife or husband, but it's some eatable which you like to eat, you should give up. So, but why should I do, Swamiji? So, a person who do not want to be free, who does not want to be free, he need not give up. Why should he? But I want to find out what is holding me back. What is dictating my joy? Should I be dictated about this is how you will be joyful, this side you should become miserable? Somebody should or something should dictate me, or I want to be free of that. If you want to be free, then come out of the hold of something. So next day, when the time for me to get everybody to, I take them to Ganges, take them 7 dips, and then tell them mentally you should give up now. Now onwards, it's out from your life. Nobody came. Very few of them said, okay, Swamiji, because you are compelling us to do 1 year, I will give. No, don't compete me there. It has to be for good. Swamiji, I will give Rasagula, but Rasamalai I like. So they very reluctantly they wanted to give up. It's hard. See, even simple thing like food, a choice of food, how difficult for us to be coming out of that hold of that. So this way we have thousands of vasanas. Some of them we don't even know. When circumstances arise, then you will see that it coming up. So physical vasanas apart, there are emotional or mental vasanas are there. We are very happy when somebody praises us, somebody says good things about us. And when we take a group picture, we'll first thing we'll look at is our own face only. Think when a group picture is taken, you first on whom you look. Where is my if in the picture if I'm not there, I'm not interested. Okay, next. So how much we so identify with our own being. There are so many vasanas are there. So it is not easy for us to remove one by one, one by one. What is the root? Let's go to the root. Ego. That identification, I am so and so, is so strong that when you slowly withdraw from, then alone, the entire structure of the vasana structure will collapse. So you're asking, then our destination is a condition wherein every one of our vasanas is exhausted. Is it that all vasanas to be exhausted before realization is achieved? So as even you become free of your vasanas, you start experiencing the freedom. Once that freedom is tasted, you will not go back. That is what I was telling them. Oh, give up and see how you are free of that. And even if it is in front of you, you don't get disturbed by that. Let it be there. I'm not interested in that. So you're free of that. You see? Swamiji, free means can I eat it also? No. Then you are getting back to the hold of it. No, actually I don't want it, but if it is in front of me, I will have it. This is how it deludes you. So its self-realization, as I said, is not a particular place to go or a particular condition. It's a growth. It's a growth and it's a maturity. Slowly you rise up to that level of freedom. Not to go back, not to fall back. All right. Any other questions?
One more.
I will ask a question kind of a follow-up to this one.
I'm not able to hear you at all.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Swami, I had a follow-up to this question. So if we talk about like you'll not be attached to a food, right? Let's say there's just some food that I've decided I'll give up. I'm not going to have it anymore. But then
Tell me which one.
like maybe you'll say some junk food, right? Let's say it's like soda, whatever, just some example. Then you'll say you're giving it up, you're not attached to it. But then what I feel experience now is that there is kind of the attachment to the rule, right? That I'm always thinking in my mind, I have to avoid this food, I have to kind of be strong in not eating this. So in a sense, that becomes a kind of attachment for me, is the lack of attachment, right? I'm always attached to avoiding it. I'm always thinking in my mind, I
No,
cannot.
thereafter you don't avoid per se. You don't think about it because it's not of any matter to you. So it's not that you have to think that I'm giving up, I'm giving up, I'm giving up. No, it's no more. It will occupy your mind. When you have given up, is no, for in the beginning, yes, what you are saying is right because our habitual tendency, there is a thought that arises. Oh, you give up this. Let's say I'm giving up sweets. It'll keep coming. Oh, you give up sweets. So when you look at this, you gave up that. Remember? So, but after some time, it becomes natural. It becomes not even. It'll come to your awareness or even thought. Okay, let it be there. So what?
So is it a bad thing if it's there, if you're not like attached to it, right? You're not saying like I'm craving this thing, but you eat it sometimes if it's there. No, you don't want
Fall
to.
into the trap. Mind can take you into the trap very easily. So I actually don't have any attachment to it, but once in a while I will have it. That's where it traps.
You have to stay strong on that.
Yeah. So after some time, if it is there also, you just let it be there. It's not of any value to you. See, what is not valuable to you, you don't want to even hold it or take it in your hand, right? It didn't be so.
Thank
So
you so
let us
much.
say you have iPhone 15 and then there is iPhone 14 sitting there. Let it be so. I have 15. I have 14 has no meaning for me. 15 is better. Go for something greater than those things. Then those things are tucham. It's not of use. Yes.
Okay, in chapter 14, it defines, so Antakarana, it defines Chitta as the illuminating aspect or conditioned consciousness. How to understand that versus Chitta as memory?
Chitta in?
As memory. Sanjay.
So I have explained this before. You may remember, Chit means consciousness. Chittam means memory. And then Chitta means mind. Mano buddhyahankara chittani naham. That it is Chittam, plural is Chittani. So that is memory. And so aham sat chit ananda. That chit is consciousness. Then chitta shuddhi, when you say, that is mind. So chit, consciousness. Chitta, the mind. Chittam is memory. So one must carefully look at it. Some people may not distinguish correctly, so they they replace one with another. Sometimes that happens because even when Gurudev had talked, somebody who wrote it down might not have properly understood that. So these three must be distinguished, separately. Yeah.
A quick question, not related to what we discussed today, but so I was reading about Jiva Ishvara Ekatva, and so related to avidya, when avidya nash happens, when the avidya ends, so like how we talk, like avidya has two qualities, avrana and vikshepa. So for a Jivanmukta, like when the avidya is ended, but he or she would still experience the world, right? So
Yes.
would we say that the avrana has ended and the vikshepa continues, or how do we put it? Like, because
no, so one has ended, both ends by together only. So avarana is covering, veiling, vikshepa is projection. These are the two powers of Maya. So when I do not see, its example is when I do not see the rope as a rope, that is covering. That is called avarana. But then I see instead of that a snake. That is vikshepa. I mean projected something else there. So without the avarana, vikshepa will not take place. Right? Without the fact that I am not seeing the rope, the projection of a snake in that cannot happen, because if I'm seeing the rope, there cannot be any projection of snake there. Right? So projection, vikshepa, takes place only when there is avarana. All right. Now you are saying, I removed the vikshepa. Or one of them. If you have removed avarana, then you will not be able to do vikshepa. If you remove the vikshepa, that I am, though it is not snake, let us say. I understood it's not snake. Then what else it is? Then naturally the inquiry will start. Oh, I want to know what else. If it is not snake, what else it is? So if one is removed, other one will naturally take place. Yeah. Thank you. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkhabhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.